Welcome to the very first episode of the Greenberg Hat-Trick, a sports radio and podcast show. I am Michael, and alongside me is my eldest brother Josh.
Yellow.
And the youngest of the three, Seth.
Yo.
Just to give a brief background, we are all major sports fanatics who grew up in Los Angeles and moved with our family to Israel 11 years ago. Normally, our show will air on IDC Radio 106.2 FM on Saturday evenings Israeli time. Once the radio show ends, we will continue with a bonus podcast to be released shortly after. We are excited to start the show, and because the radio studio will be down the next few weeks, we decided our first episode will be a podcast. I present to you the first episode of The Greenberg Hat-Trick.
Now, here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
If you ain't first, you're last. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. And Donovan has scored! Oh, can you believe this? Go, USA!
Welcome to the Greenberg Hat-Trick, episode number 1. Today is August 2nd, 2017. We have a packed show for you all today, and we're going to only focus on soccer since the new seasons are just around the corner. We're going to talk the Community Shield, UEFA Super Cup, and give some predictions and tips for the upcoming Premier League season, as well as Fantasy EPL. But we got some breaking news for you. It looks like Neymar is going to leave Barcelona, as the club has given the okay for his release. What do you guys...
That's crazy. It finally happened. So all summer, everyone, it was the biggest transfer. No one knew what was going to happen. It was him, maybe Alexis, maybe Bale, and it seems like Barca's finally given the approval. Messi said something on Instagram, right? You said that Messi posted a saying goodbye?
Messi posted a farewell message on Instagram, so this is pretty much happening now. All that matters is PSG comes up with the money, and Neymar moves to Paris.
PSG definitely has the money.
Well,
that's not the question.
222 million euros is a lot of money to come up with.
It's not easy, but they have it.
But this situation is ongoing, and we'll probably talk about it in an upcoming episode once it's final. But Barcelona needs to rebound from this big time.
And there's still time before the transfer window closes for them to get another player. So let's go right into the first game that we will be previewing, which is Arsenal and Chelsea in the Community Shield.
Yep, the Community Shield is this Sunday from Wembley. It's a rematch of the FA Cup final, which Arsenal won 2-1. Very exciting game that was, and the teams just met in Asia, I believe.
They played in China, I'm pretty sure. They played in a 3-0 loss.
It was a 3-0 loss for Arsenal.
How is Ospina not suspended?
It was he went for the ball and hit Pedro in the face, which is just it happens.
That's an easy thing to say.
It was crazy.
Swing and a miss.
Crazy. No, but for those who don't understand why this is happening, it's because Chelsea won the Premier League and Arsenal won the FA Cup. So it's the champions of both things play each other in the final.
Yeah, it's the kickoff to the new season, and it's the first trophy at stake, even though some people don't consider it a real trophy.
Yeah, because last year Man U won, and a lot of people gave them shit for it because they don't think it's a real trophy. But a trophy's a trophy, just like I was happy with Arsenal winning the FA Cup.
Zlatan don't care what you guys have to say.
Silverware.
But anyways, let's give our predictions on this opening game. I think Arsenal will win on penalties. I like a 1-1 tie, and Arsenal to win the Community Shield in penalties.
Someone just out of the studio just died or something.
We'll check on them later. But Seth, give us your prediction, please.
I completely agree with your prediction of a tie. I think that sounds right. Although I see most of Arsenal's penalty takers missing. I think Chelsea would win that game in penalties.
Okay. I kind of agree. It depends on the goalie. Actually, I don't even know now, actually.
I don't care about the goalie. I think Arsenal's players are not going to make their penalties.
Wrap your head around it. And
Peter Cech hasn't saved a penalty in 3 years at Arsenal. Ospina's too small to save penalties. But Martinez, our backup, if we put him in maybe for the penalty shootout, he can get the job done.
It does not matter who is goalie. All that matters is is making his penalty.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If Morata's still in the game.
That's
still
true.
In the game.
Because he's not really fit.
Yeah, 120 minutes. I don't think he's going that long.
But I would think Cech would know Chelsea's penalty tendencies.
Really? Because the players are so different. Does Cech know Morata? Does Cech know Batshuayi? Does Cech know Pedro? Does Cech know what? I mean,
okay, Pedro's not playing because he's concussed and fractured his face.
Willian.
He knows Willian.
Nah.
Yeah, he knows Willian.
We already told you Morata is not going to play 90 minutes. I don't know if he's going to start. That's a whole other issue because Conte said his fitness isn't there.
Sure, you're 100% correct. He's not playing 120. The question is if he starts or not. If he don't make it to penalties, I think he'll start, and then obviously he won't end up taking penalties.
Well, Michael, final say on this game, and then we'll move to the UEFA Super Cup.
Arsenal on penalties. I'll take that. I want
So
the
that's
trophy.
three
Three
ties
draws.
right there.
Going against what we all just said,
I'm
Arsenal
not.
has a 77% win rate at Wembley.
Yeah,
no draws.
I'm gonna say Arsenal wins on normal time.
Arsenal has 77%. Chelsea has 62%.
Just like that, he
Fine.
Just like
I'm
that.
switching. I'm switching.
I'm glad I have facts.
Arsenal in normal time. I'm gonna say 3-2.
Okay, that is
From a tie to
would,
goals galore.
We would love to see that game.
3-2.
But moving on to the UEFA Super Cup on Tuesday from Macedonia.
Yeah, it's in Macedonia.
In Skopje, I believe is the
Skopje.
city. It will be the Champions League winners Real Madrid and the Europa League winners Manchester United. Real Madrid and Man U played in the States to a 1-1 tie, and Man U won on penalties.
Yeah.
And this again, it's another tune-up to the season. This is another fun game, but another trophy is at stake. And Real Madrid, I think, is on their way back from the States now to this game, so that
Yeah.
might have some effect to it. But I'll let you guys start off with the predictions for this one.
I don't want to spoil what's going to happen later on, but Man U is one of my top teams for this year. Assuming Neymar is leaving, I don't think Barca has the same firepower as they did in the past. Bayern Munich, I think, has dropped down a step, and I think Man U is the best in England. So I think Man U will be more prepared for this game, especially since Ronaldo is not going to be in this game.
On one hand, I agree with you. I completely agree that they will be one of the top teams in all of Europe this coming season. However, it will take some time for them to mend together. They
That's
do
true.
have some new acquisitions. And I think most important, though, is Mourinho against his old team.
Yeah, that's another good point.
I think Man U does win this game. Not easily. I'm thinking it's a low-scoring game. Keep in mind, no Ronaldo for Real Madrid, most likely. I'm saying 1-0 Man U or 2-1 Man U.
I'm saying 2-1.
And it's difficult to give a prediction on your favorite team, but the facts are there's no Ronaldo. They lost Morata. They haven't won a single game.
Bale hasn't shown any form yet. Like,
Yeah, but they haven't won a single game in America. I mean,
That's
we'll,
true,
We'll
too.
see with the result of the MLS
No-
All-Star game.
Not
but,
sure how much this really makes Real Madrid want to win so badly. Again, it's
a trophy,
It's
though.
a trophy. It's a trophy. Yes, but they did win this last year. They are aiming to be the first team to win successive UEFA Super Cups since Milan in '89 and '90.
because no team won the Champions League 2 years in a row, so no team usually is in the Super Cup 2 years in a row.
There you go.
True and true. Good stats we're bringing to the table. So, I mean, like I said, Michael made some good points with, man, you might be the favorite in England. And the key is no Ronaldo.
That is a big key.
I think so too.
If there's Ronaldo plays in this game, you give the edge to Real Madrid. If you're looking at the odds for the games, they're making Real Madrid the heavy favorites. But
They're the better team. I mean, there's no Ronaldo.
I don't know how you can say they're the better team.
It's tricky because like everyone thinks Real Madrid as like the number one team because they have Zidane, they have Bale, they have Ramos, they have I was about to say Casillas, but he's gone now. But like
Navas.
they have Navas. They definitely have a solid team, and people. I don't know how they did as well they did last year because I don't think they performed that well, but somehow
They were amazing last year.
They
They have
were-
one of the
They were pretty good last year.
most controlling midfielders in the world.
If you saw the Champions League final,
Modric
which
was a breakout
we
last
all
year.
did 4-1 in the final.
Casemiro.
It was just. But my prediction will be 2-1 Man U. I look for Lukaku and Pogba to
That's
get
what
the goals.
I was just thinking right now. Who's going to score those goals? Like sometimes Lingard scores in these types of games.
Lingard only scores in Wembley.
He
Lingard
only
is
scores in
nothing.
one. That's true.
He's
He's
nothing.
got some. He would
He's
be
nothing.
He needs to go to a smaller team. I know it's hard for him.
let's
does.
say-
He
let's
needs more
save that when we
experience.
talk about Man U because
Yeah.
it's time to move to the Premier League because we're about a week away from the start of the Premier League season.
Yes. First game is Arsenal versus Leicester on Friday,
Arsenal Leicester kicks that off as well.
August 11th.
And that means, do you have your fantasy team set? You still got some time, but we're here to give you some tips on who you should pick for this year's upcoming fantasy league. And Mike will start us off with a bit of a sleeper pick that he has for fantasy.
My sleeper pick, and so it's kind of our definition for sleeper is he's got to be on a team that's either like below like what we think is the top 7, or if he's on one of those top teams, he's got to be one of those like really underrated player that you don't think of. So my sleeper pick of the season is going to be Jeff Cameron from he's on Stoke, right?
Interesting.
Yep.
He's a Stoke City defender. He plays right back or center back. he was really good like the year before, like 2 years ago. Last year, he had a bunch of different injuries, which is why his point total was really low.
He had some injuries, and Mark Hughes didn't really use him
Yeah.
that much as well.
So I think he will get back in the squad, especially it being a World Cup year, and he will earn his place. And Stoke does get some good results at home, so he'll get his shutouts, and he does provide some offensive stats too.
Cameron does score.
Yeah. So that's my sleeper pick. I also want to mention that throughout these picks, we have prediction fantasy expertise. Ben Hines, as I have his picks too. He's our friend from Los Angeles. He won, believe it or not, the UEFA Euro 2016.
It's the UEFA, the Euro 2016s. It was a fantasy program on the UEFA website, and he was the number 1 player in the world.
So he kind of knows a little bit, a thing or two about fantasy. So his sleeper pick / underrated pick is Aaron Ramsey from Arsenal, which I think that is a pretty decent pick. Him being a 7 and a midfielder, I think he'll get a lot more points than people would expect from a 7.
I disagree. I don't think he will do that well. Maybe because he's a 7. Like we said, a sleeper pick's either really low or low for a top team. That is low for a top team. But why? Because he's not in a complete attacking role. Look at the defensive midfielders on the top teams. They're 5.5, 6s. They don't get points. Ramsey's not a complete defensive
Arsenal
midfield.
doesn't defend, though.
He's not a complete defensive midfield, but he's also not that Ozil or that Sanchez or whoever you're looking for to create every attack.
And Ramsey is a known murderer, by the way.
That's why it's a sleeper. So you just got to
Okay.
you'll see.
So interesting enough, my sleeper is also from Stoke. However, it is a midfielder for 5.5. It's Joe Allen.
Fuck that guy.
Why?
Because he sucks.
does
He's
not
ex-Liverpool guy.
Well, let's hear Seth out first before we
He
jump
does
on
not
how
suck.
terrible Joe
There's not
Allen
much to
is.
say. I think he's very underrated. 5.5 is a beautiful sleeper pick. He got, I believe, 114 points last year, 118 points last year.
He had a
Did not
streak where he
play
was
in
just
all the
scoring.
games. He had 6 goals, 3 assists. I think Stoke will also have an improving year. They were not the greatest or to their full potential. They do have a solid squad, and I saw him play for Wales, and I think he has great potential.
Didn't he score against Israel or something?
Joe Allen,
be
I
a great
believe,
sleeper pick.
did. I mean, they did score 3 past us at home
Yeah.
when we were home. But that's 5.5 is value. You can't
If
go
worst
wrong with
case,
that.
that's a bench. So
But he's
that's a
the
beautiful
s-
sleeper.
He's the same as Bojan. Like I would think, is Bojan healthy?
Bojan does not play every game.
Bojan,
Yeah.
his career has been down
I don't
the
know.
toilet.
I know like it's kind of contradictory, but I think this might be the final year where Stoke stays in the Premier League. Maybe. I don't know. This might be their fall off year.
You think Stoke's getting relegated?
Maybe.
Wait, you think Stoke is possibly getting relegated, but it's smart to have a defender.
I don't know. I'm trying to look.
If they're getting relegated, they're getting in tons of goals.
They got Kurt Zuma also now from Chelsea, so that could help them defend some goals away. But Crouch is always a dangerous striker.
Peter Crouch.
You never know.
Regardless, let's get to my sleeper,
what's your
and
sleeper pick?
he's the ex-Man United striker in Chicharito. It pains
Chicharito.
He's on
me
my team.
to pick a member of the Mexican national team,
Yeah.
but he's a former United.
Racist.
No, not racist. It's a rivalry, not racist. He scores like
He will be lethal
he
this
will
year.
score the most ugly goals, but it doesn't
Happens.
matter. They go in the net. Like again, going back to Community Shield, he scored a goal where the ball like literally bounced off the post, off his forehead, and he was looking the other way and in. So
Chicha.
Well, the good news for him, besides his first game, he's got a pretty decent schedule as
West
far
Ham
as
has a great schedule.
that's part of the logic, and I have no problem putting him on my bench for the first week against
For
Man
me,
U.
sleeper. I really tried to keep
Actually-
it at really low priced players.
West
but
Ham has their
7
first 3 games on the road.
against 2.
United, Southampton, Newcastle. Those are tough.
All right. When then after that?
Huddersfield
Again,
home.
when we're talking about sleeper, you're not talking about the first few weeks. You're talking all season.
I wouldn't classify Newcastle as tough, by the way.
I'm just looking ahead at their schedule. They got a 4-week series of at Everton, at City, home Chelsea, home Arsenal. Yikes.
But
That
if
is-
you,
that's
if
a-
you don't think that he won't get a goal in some of those games, you're dead wrong because
he will.
And by then, you'll figure out your team and you can make your transfers.
They got some rough patches and some quick things. All right, off of West Ham.
I
now,
agree
though.
with Chicha. That's a good pick.
That's a good pick, I think, too. I had him at some point, and I dropped him which is also my kind of other sleeper pick, you might say, is Charlie Austin. I think he will be
How much
better-
is he, a 6?
6.5.
6.5.
But I would rather go with the guy that drives a Lamborghini. His name is
Gabbiadini.
I don't know. That was
No, I completely agree. There's no way I'm picking up Charlie Austin as a second striker for
him.
Southampton. Gabbiadini showed class last year. He came in straight to the team and just flew, scored tons of goals, quality goals. I don't know how you can pick. It's like, I mean, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but it's like if Rashford and Lukaku were for the same price and you pick Rashford over Lukaku. Not a chance.
I'm not saying to give your pick, but who would you pick as your starting goalie?
Courtois. And that is my pick.
As of right now, I do have Courtois.
There's no way you don't have Courtois on your team.
As of right now, I do have Courtois, but I'll kind of I'll transition that into the must-have that you need to have on your team. Because my must-have, it's not really a specific player, but in my opinion, you need 100% to have at least one Manchester United defender or goalie. So that means you can get De Gea if you want, or you can get like Lindelof or Valencia.
I have Lindelof. We're just name it with all your picks. You're naming my team, so I mean, I think I'm doing well.
One Man United defender because they led the league last year in
clean sheets with 17 alongside Tottenham.
How Mourinho teams work, that just happens. Like, I don't know, you're the United fan, Josh. So like, how many games did they tie 0-0? Like that they should or could have won?
17 out of 17.
Too many.
Exactly. Like, so that's
and at home.
Exactly.
We'd rather not talk about last year and worry about the present. And Lindelof is definitely a smart pick to have on your team. So you need a good value Man U defender, and he fits that.
Exactly. So what are your must-have picks?
My must-have, it's an interesting topic because must-have you would normally think of a midfielder or a striker. They are the main point getters, of course. However, my main pick is definitely James Milner on Liverpool. Last year he was listed as a midfielder. He clearly played the right back role last year for Liverpool, and he is now a defender. Last year, he finished with 139 points as a midfielder.
Right.
If you change that into defender, that means you add points, 1 point for each of his goals, which were 6 or 7.
Penalties, that's why, though.
Sure,
it happens,
that's part of the reason why he's a smart player to have on your team. And also 12 shutouts times 4 is 48 points lost.
The shutouts.
12 clean sheets times 4 is 48.
That's
plus
what
the 7 goals. That's 55 points missing off his list. He would have led the defenders in the league last year by far.
That's good math, Seth.
No, that's a good pick. Josh, what you got?
My must-have player for good value, because the midfielders are just so all over the place. I'm really having trouble picking my 5. But at an 8, and with the signing of Matic, Pogba is going to fly this year.
That could be true.
He is going to be involved in almost every single goal.
Yeah.
If that's how you think, then clearly
words.
That's your pick. However, I have a counter. Same team, 8 midfielder. I would for sure rather Mkhitaryan on my team.
I don't know. It's who takes the penalties? Is it Lukaku or is it Pogba? Lukaku takes the penalties this year, probably?
I don't know, but you boost the striker's confidence. You give it to Lukaku.
That's a debate all in itself right there, because
take that out of the equation for now.
I think Pogba can take the penalties as well.
He could. Take that out of the equation for now. It's not known.
No, that's
I'd
the
much
problem.
rather Mkhitaryan.
That's the problem with Man U this year. But the thing is, Pogba has much more to prove this year than Mkhitaryan.
But they're in different roles.
That's why they're different roles. But Pogba's going to be, like I said, more involved with all the goals, with either goals or assists.
It goes down to like Mourinho, though. Like, where do Mourinho teams score goals more often? From play or from set pieces? And if it's set pieces, that's where you want Pogba. But if they're going to score from open play, then Mkhitaryan will be the guy to get the assists or the goals.
Because Lukaku could struggle. He might struggle at Man U, and you can still get the combination of Pogba and Mkhitaryan.
So let's try. Last year when they had Zlatan, who was taking the free kicks? Who was taking the penalties?
Mostly Zlatan.
Everything was Zlatan?
Mostly Zlatan. Like, literally, he would stand up to a free kick and be like,
and when
back off.
Pogba's on Italy or Juve, is he taking the stuff?
Yeah, he was taking free kicks, and Pogba's free kicks are lethal.
We know he scored against Israel.
You can go with last year's highlights of his free kicks that hit the post.
Yeah,
he hit more posts than goals last year, which is obviously much more easy to do, which is kind of a
fact.
a stupid comment. But.
My bad. I was thinking Balotelli, not Pogba, as far as free kicks goals against Israel.
Confused.
My bad. Ben says for his must-have pick is Lukaku.
I agree.
He says either
that
Lukaku
or
Kane. He says Lukaku or Kane. Since they're basically the same, then you go one.
It's a
point
lot
cheaper
of money spent.
Yeah.
That is why I had Lukaku on my team last year. I've said all year, and I still say, if money's not involved, he's the player to have this year. He will, in my opinion, completely fly. He will break 20. He'll break 25. I believe he'll break 30. I think he's gonna go insane with Man U. They're a team that also comes from the wings. Lots of balls in from Valencia. He's that beast in the box. He's the perfect striker for Man U. He's close to Zlatan, but with age and with whatever, I think he'll be even better for Man U fit.
Okay.
I'm looking at another thing right now for a thing to think about as far as underrated players. I was watching.
Go on, Michael.
I was watching Liverpool versus Munich yesterday, and Liverpool really amazed me with how they played. You might maybe want to think about Jordan Henderson. Maybe if Coutinho leaves, then for sure. Because Jordan Henderson
still stays in the defensive role position.
He's
Pass.
5.5.
Defensive mid.
Pass.
That's what I said. How much is Conte? 5.5. How much are those defensive mids? They don't get points.
Conte
Dyer's
doesn't
a
take the
5.
corners. Conte doesn't take. If Coutinho leaves, then Henderson will take the corners.
But that's an if. Let's wait to see if
Yeah,
Coutinho leaves
okay.
or not, because Liverpool might be stubborn even if they offer 150.
They denied 100 million.
Anyways, I think that's enough fantasy talk. There's still a
Yeah.
week. There's still a week to get your teams going. If you want to join our fantasy league, find the links on our Facebook page. And if you
We'll post
haven't,
it again.
if you haven't liked the Facebook page, please do, because the more likes, the more support we can get for this page and get more podcasts and content for you all. So with that, let's move to some Premier League predictions, and we'll start off with the Golden Boot race. Last
Lukaku,
year's
done.
last year's winner was
Harry Kane.
back-to-back years.
Not also that he won it. He missed a lot of games towards the end of the season and
Yeah,
still
he
came
missed a
back.
ton of
He
games.
won it in class, and he proved me wrong at the very least. I did not think he was that great of a striker, but he clearly proved whoever doubted that wrong. However, as I just said a few minutes ago, Lukaku is 100%, in my opinion, the Golden Boot.
So Seth goes for Lukaku. Michael goes for...
I'm gonna take Lacazette. I was very impressed. I was very impressed with
That's not a homer pick.
his.
Is it because you're an Arsenal fan, or
Definitely a little bit is because of that, but I'm impressed with his abilities. From what I've
wouldn't-
seen
he's
this summer.
fantastic?
I
think
wouldn't put him in the top 5.
100% top 5.
No.
I do not think of that as a bad pick at all. I'm just
Would not put him in the
questioning if
top
it's
5.
because you're an Arsenal fan.
Would
Of
not
course,
put him in
that does
top
have
5.
something.
Is this
100%
with
top 5.
Sanchez or no?
This
What do you
is
mean
with Sanchez.
With
No.
Sanchez.
Is Sanchez leaving?
Sanchez
This
did
is
what he
with
did
Sanchez.
last year because he played in the striker role most of the season.
Because here's another little game you can play. Who gets more goals, Sanchez or Lacazette?
Lacazette. Done.
I think Lacazette. I don't think Sanchez will produce as many goals
If you
as he did
just
last
said
year.
you think, then Lacazette should not be your Golden Boot pick. Because if you think he might get more, that means he's between 15 and 20.
I don't know. I see Arsenal having not the greatest season, but I see Lacazette getting the goals.
I see Sanchez having a fantastic season.
I don't know. I hope. I just don't know what to expect. I haven't seen anything from him
He
yet.
has so much to prove and so much crap has
He
been
doesn't have
talked
anything
about
to
him.
prove. He's
He has-
proved how classy he is.
no,
He's amazing.
It's a contract year for him, and if he doesn't play well, he lose millions of dollars or pounds or however you want to call it.
Why?
Because it's
Because
all
you're
about
based off
now.
last year.
It's all about
That's
now.
kind of true. But
If he has a terrible season, his whole value goes much down. That's true. However, that does
Maybe.
not mean it's all going to be questioned by goals. He can still play great. He can still provide goals. He can still create options, opportunities, attacks, whatnot. He's missing out on that striker role this year that he was lethal last year. But Lacazette is as well, and he's the striker. He's the main go-to guy. He's that Lukaku in the box.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys with my pick,
who dat?
Morata or Morata.
Morata.
Because I see Hazard finding him game in
Again?
and game out, and he is. Some say more lethal than Lukaku.
He is very lethal.
He plays in the bigger games that
He's
Lukaku
a
hasn't
striker.
played in yet. And with all the hype, and
Not a curveball, I
I'm
agree.
starting to believe it. I think he might be your Golden Boot. You want to say Harry Kane because he's one of the past 2 years, but I don't see him winning it 3 years in a row.
No, not a
I
chance.
can't say Lukaku because that's the homer pick, and people are right. He has to prove it at Man U. I think he'll get 20 goals. I don't think that'll be Golden
I
Boot.
think that all three of us are on track. If I had to pick 3, it would have been those 3, in my opinion. Those are the top 3.
The only question mark is, does Sergio Aguero go to Chelsea?
What?
Because that's the latest rumor, and take it for what it's worth. It's a
Not
rumor.
happening.
Remember,
not a chance.
he's
City
not
will
liked
sell.
by
Sure,
Pep.
City will not allow Aguero to go to Chelsea.
That's not necessarily true.
That is true. City does not need money. They do not. I would rather bench Aguero if I was one of Chelsea's rivals for the title. I would rather bench Aguero if I had City's money. I would rather bench Aguero all season, pay him his money, than sell him to Chelsea for even 100 mil.
I didn't see this at all. So
I do not see that, but I do not see that happening whatsoever.
It's just a what if. This might be like 10%, but like
No,
you have to remember,
no.
he should always be in the conversation for Golden Boot, and he's going to want to play.
Of course he could,
And if
but
the
I
first 2
think
or
he's
3
splitting
weeks,
with Gabriel
if the
Jesus.
first 2-3 weeks he's not playing often, or Jesus is the number 1 guy at City now, He's going to want to go, and he's going to demand a transfer. And Chelsea's going to be the team that he's going to want to go to.
It is a World Cup season, and players who are in those positions need to get their playing time and need to get their positions locked in.
Relegation fight.
Relegation.
I don't think we'll go too in depth in this because
it's tricky.
Our knowledge on the lower teams in the Premier League isn't quite there yet because we have to get used to these new teams like Huddersfield and Brighton. But if you were going to pick 3 teams that are going down this year, Seth, who are your 3?
I think we all agree on Huddersfield.
Huddersfield is definitely on. I mean, again, there's not much.
We don't know much about it.
Don't know much about it, but if I had to pick my opinion,
we got to do our homework.
Huddersfield.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it at a sports book site just for some reference, and they're literally you have to bet $200 to win $100.
On Huddersfield?
They're the favorites?
They're like the favorites to go down.
They should go down. Newcastle is, I think, normally there's always been one team at the very least that stays in the Premier League. I think Newcastle is staying no matter what.
I think that is a fact.
They are getting
Newcastle
some interesting acquisitions.
At least these
Who did
guys.
I say they were going for today? They were going
Tell us because we're waiting.
Lucas Perez
on Real Madrid.
Oh, that's
a loan deal.
That's gonna bump them up one place
Lucas
in the
Perez
standing.
Real Madrid.
Newcastle.
Lucas Perez from Arsenal.
No, you saw Lucas Perez?
Yeah.
I think I saw Lucas Vasquez. Oh, I mixed them up?
Maybe.
Whatever, maybe we can get past
He's
that.
a good player.
Lucas Vasquez.
It was Lucas Perez.
All right.
He's a good player that didn't get a chance at Arsenal.
Regardless, we're all DeAndre Yedlin fans. We want Newcastle to
Yep.
succeed this year, so we think Newcastle's probably going to be safe. So the second team, I think, goes down, and it's a pain for some of our Israeli soccer fans. It's Brighton.
Yeah.
I mean, we want Tomer Hemed and Kayal to have good seasons in the Premier League, but it's always difficult to come from the championship into the Premier League and survive, and I don't know if Brighton's going to be able to do so. Agree, disagree?
I don't know much about them, but they do have some Premier League experience. Glenn Murray was on Crystal Palace. They obviously didn't get relegated, so he knows what it takes to stay in the league. And is this Steven Sidwell? Yeah, Steve Sidwell. He's been around the Premier League a bunch of times.
He is a legendary relegated player.
Yeah, but you gotta learn from your experiences.
I guess we can put Brighton down, and then the third team, I mean, Burnley, Watford, Swansea, they'll battle it out for that.
Yeah, Swansea's my go-to thing, especially if Sigurdsson leaves. Obviously, we don't know yet about that.
That's huge. That is huge. But we'll see. I mean, there's still the transfer window goes to August 31st, and we can get better eye on these teams once the season starts. But let's get to the main event, and it's the predictions for the top 4 of the Premier League. But let's throw a curveball and start from 7 through 5.
7 through 5.
So who is your 7th, 6th, and 5th place team? I'll start in 7th place, Everton. I like how they've done this transfer season. I like Rooney. I don't know how much he will contribute to them this year, but I think he'll have some factor in some games. And they're a solid team, solid coach. I think 7th place is the right position for them.
I mean, by you saying that, I think we all agree that the top 6 is the top 6, and then you're basically saying who's the best team out of the top 6.
No, there's different variations. Like, for instance, my 7 is West Ham. I'm staying with...
Where's Everton for you?
8.
That's my point. Our top 6 are going to be the same 6.
Our top 6 are the same 6
So you're basically
teams in
saying
different
out of
orders.
the top 6, who's the 7th winner?
At first, I didn't get you.
Yeah, I was like,
Right,
what
so
the
maybe
hell
I
are
was
you
a little
talking
confusing.
about?
But then I
Basically,
got
we're all
you.
going to agree on the top 6.
Yes.
So you're saying who out of the top 6 is winning?
So then, Seth, who's your 7th? Just so we can
Everton,
move on.
I agreed.
Okay, so
Everton.
So then 6th and 5th. Who is your 6th pick?
I'm going 6th, Tottenham.
This is very interesting. As I'm seeing now, Coutinho's bid yesterday from Barcelona was rejected by 100 million was rejected. Now they're offering 120. It depends on that. If Coutinho goes, Liverpool's my 6. If he stays, it's difficult, but I'm still just going to stick with Liverpool in 6.
As we said at the top of the show, today is August 2nd, so you need to base these decisions on the now and not the rumors.
If I base it on
for the most part, you can make it.
I saw a
elite.
rumor that Klopp says he's staying no matter what.
So if I base it on the now, then I go Tottenham 6. They're having a major drop this year.
0 signs this summer.
I mean, this is a huge drop, but
Spurs have 0 signs this summer.
Who'd you say for 6?
Signings.
Spurs?
I said Spurs 6.
All right. If
it's
Coutinho
a huge
stays at
drop.
Spurs,
But I'm in agreement because the teams teams above them
Interesting.
are better.
Interesting.
It's tough to say when you finish second last year and you
They
go
had
to
a great
sixth.
season. They're a
but
good defensive team.
Everyone's
But
starting.
they have Champions League this year.
They had Champions League last year and they were awful.
Okay, then.
No, but the bigger point is they're not playing at the Lane. They're playing at Wembley, which it goes back to Champions League last year. They didn't win any games at Wembley. So they're playing a full season at Wembley.
All right, well, we all agree Tottenham 6.
Next year is
5th.
the return of St. Totteringham's Day.
Like now, this year.
This season, yeah.
You don't say
It-
next.
Well, yeah, it will return.
5th place, Seth, go. While we're waiting for Seth, Michael, go.
Chelsea.
Whoa!
How dare you?
I'm gonna let you in on a
That's
secret.
so interesting because I was about to say Arsenal.
I know
but
you
wanted
were.
to think.
I know you were.
Here's a little inside information on the practicing for our podcast. Last week, we did a practice round, and I said, I don't think Chelsea's going to be in the top 4 this year. And Seth and Michael both yelled at me.
I still yell at you. I mean, I don't know where you can
Both
say
yelled at
Chelsea's
me.
going to 5th place.
And
You're
now
insane. You're insane.
We put our actual predictions on the air for real in a real podcast, and Michael says Chelsea's his 5th place.
Two
team.
things changed during that time.
What changed?
I saw Liverpool play. Impressed.
Okay, and Matic left.
And Matic, well, I didn't even think about that, but Alexis is
crucial.
staying. Alexis is staying, and I'm happy, and I'm
Matic
excited.
is
and
amazing. He was one of my top.
Of course, that's a
he
big
was
deal
one of my
too.
top players
That is
at
a big.
Chelsea.
That is important.
However, we did get Bakayoko, who could have a very good connection with Conte, both from France.
Oh, by the way, on my other show that I just did, I couldn't pronounce Bakayoko's name. I was like Bakayoko. I just couldn't say his name.
His family is not happy with you.
I'm sure. I'm sorry. I'm. My apologies. Apologies all around.
To the Bakayoko family.
But you say Chelsea in 5th.
Chelsea 5th.
I'm shocked, but okay. That leaves. I will not agree with that. I will say Liverpool in 5th.
Me too.
I
As
don't-
I said, for my 6th, Liverpool and Tottenham are my debate. So Liverpool in 5th. If Coutinho stays, if Coutinho leaves, that switches.
They haven't added that much either this year. Like Chelsea's additions are way better than
Mohamed
Liverpool's.
Salah, as much as I personally hate him, he is
He's
a
scored in
solid player
every
and he's
preseason game.
scoring. He's lit.
He's lit, ladies and gentlemen.
They have so much speed going forward, and Firmino.
So much-
Firmino.
Mane.
I know, but I'm saying for
Wow.
fantasy, back to fantasy, Firmino could be a very
He's an
good
8 striker?
pick. 8 or 9, but
Eight.
still,
No,
he's,
9's too high. I think it was
Talk
8.
about a player that I don't like is that Firmino guy,
Why don't you like him?
because he kind of didn't perform in the Copa America when I was going for him for top goal scorer. That didn't go so well.
I remember that. That
Whoa,
was some good
that's-
times.
That's
But that's when he
your
was
own
back on
problems.
Hoffenheim, and everyone's like, watch this Firmino guy. He's going
Yeah.
to get the golden boot.
All right, so
So I'm going with Liverpool in 5th.
Agreed.
I think the teams above them are much better. I think Liverpool didn't add to their squad that well. I think Salah is a
as
fine,
all other 4 teams have done. Great
fine addition.
transfers.
And then, I said earlier that we have to go on the record that it's August 2nd and these transfers haven't happened. But the bid for Coutinho is going to go to 150.
And if it does, you don't accept?
And Liverpool, you accept that because you can buy 3 Coutinhos.
Jurgen Klopp, listen to Josh.
No, but you can buy 3 Coutinho. Well, first of all, it might not be Klopp's decision. It could be the owners. Because to make £150 million on one player, you have to sell him. Because you can get other players to the team as well with that money.
and Barca's going to get desperate once losing Neymar.
I mean, you can hold
They
out.
basically lost him. It's done.
You can hold out for more, but I don't think Barca goes more than 150. But 150 million for Coutinho, you do it. I'm sorry. Even 120, I would cash
these
it
are
in.
all, we'll see what happens. But my 5th and 6th solely depends on that because, as you said, the other 4 are on a different level this season.
Well, I think even with Coutinho, they'll be 5th, to be honest. But without
as I said, without him, I'm saying 6th.
So let's go to the top 4, our top 4. I guess since we've done it in this format, we'll just go 4th place.
Arsenal.
In 4th place is Arsenal. They
Arsenal.
win. They win.
So far, Josh and I are on page.
They win their
We're in
trophy.
sync.
Last year was an off year, but they're back in Champions League after this year with a 4th place result,
screw
and they
you guys.
reclaim 4th place.
Listen,
Michael,
I mean,
wait, who is Michael's pick for 4th?
My 4th place will be Liverpool.
There it is.
all
I'm
right.
going to hope that Arsenal gets back into the top 4, but avoids their 4th place trophy this year.
They're the 4th place team.
I guess I won't keep the suspense any longer for Michael's 3rd place pick.
Arsenal. Yeah, obviously I dream and hope that they could once again lift the title, even though they haven't done that since 2004. I haven't even witnessed it as a fan myself. Like, I only started following them in 2005. But they have what it takes. It's, do they have the consistency and avoid injuries? And I don't know. I'll see it once I believe it. We'll see how the things go a few months into the season. We'll see if they make any more transfers, because there's still a few rumors of some players coming in, some players going out, especially with Olivier Giroud, which is huge in what I think. Words are hard.
As an Arsenal fan, and whatever, if you had, if you had to improve on one position right now, what position and who would you want?
Coach.
That's a good answer.
It's time for Wenger to
That's
go.
a good answer, actually. I wasn't even thinking of coach.
I didn't get it at first.
Manager. I mean, that's the American in me. We still call it soccer. We still call it coach, but manager.
I would like a goalie, maybe.
What?
That'd be like fourth.
I would
on
like a
positions, you
goalie,
would
I
say.
think. Either a goalie or a center back. I love, we have this
Who
new...
would you replace? Murdersacker?
Yeah, Mertesacker's leaving.
Okay.
This is last season. And I don't...
But we're talking in the now. I'm talking right now. If you had a transfer, who would you want and replace who?
I would want a center back.
So you'd want Murdersacker to be a bench player.
He is already a bench player. Sorry,
So who's your starter?
Koscielny and Mustafi.
It's Koscielny, Mustafi,
And
and
Monreal?
Monreal.
So then why would you want to set it back right now?
Because I don't like Mustafi enough.
You can improve a Mustafi.
Okay.
Right now,
fair
lineup,
enough.
you got Czech, Kolasinac, Monreal, Koscielny, Mustafi, Bellerin, or Oxlade-Chamberlain. And we have this...
What do you mean, or Oxlade-Chamberlain? You're going to bench Bellerin?
Yeah, maybe.
Nah.
Bellerin...
No,
I mean,
not a chance.
Ox has been flying on the wings. Midfield,
his
you got
position.
Ramsey, Xhaka, and then Ozil, Alexis, and Giroud/Lacazette.
All right.
We'll see.
So defense.
Thank you for Arsenal Hour. Let's
Yeah.
move to Seth's third place pick.
Same as last year.
Who was that?
Man City. Not improving, not going down. They still have Champions League to compete with, which
What teams
gave
are
them
left for you
problems
then?
last
You got
year.
Chelsea
and
and
Man
Man
U.
U? All right.
I think they have too many players. They're not going to have consistency. On one hand, it depends how Guardiola does it. On one hand, obviously that's a bonus. Teams would want the best players, as many players as possible. On the other hand, you do need a consistency. You need a team to build chemistry together. You have two amazing strikers in the midfield: Sane, Sterling, De Bruyne, Silva, two Silvas. Who else did I forget? Gundogan, Toure.
Two Silvas make a right.
There's Fernandinho.
They're not going to see a
They're
minute.
going to be leaving. By the way.
They're not going to see a minute.
They're
The
gonna be
point is,
leaving.
though, they had trouble last year in Champions League, didn't do too well, and it gave them problems in the Premier League. So maybe that's why they want to build a bit better squad,
They're
a
going
bigger
to have
squad.
even more pressure this year in Champions League.
Exactly. So I think they're not obviously going to do bad because they're still a very top class team.
And by the
but
way,
Chelsea
nothing
and
can
Man
be
U
said-
are above them.
Nothing can be said for Champions League yet until you see the groups.
Right.
And we're
But-
hoping Beersheva makes it to the group stage. Yalla Beersheva.
At least City has a goalie this year. Like Claudio
Sure.
Bravo was just a joke.
I'll take Courtois and De Gea over Ederson.
I haven't seen Ederson play, but
Neither have I. But Courtois and De Gea, I
I'm
would not
sure
replace either
Ederson
of
knows
them.
how to use his hands, which is what a goalie needs.
That would be
Hey,
key.
how can you be saying bad stuff about Bravo? Did you see what cup was in the South
Yeah,
American
he
Cup?
made a few good
Are you
penalty
kidding
saves.
me?
But
he was
still-
the man of that tournament.
He was the joke of the Premier League last year.
Sure. So he has something. I think it's City's the
All right,
problem,
let's
not
move
him.
to Josh's
My
number
third
three.
place pick will be the defending champions, Chelsea. I think this might be the closest Premier League title race
It's interesting.
yet.
so
So,
close.
like when I say they're third place, they could be out of second place by a point. But regardless, I think Chelsea they're only going to be having a declining year from last year with Champions League because last year the key for them and for Liverpool, some might say, was no Europe.
Yep.
Agreed. It's going to
And-
be difficult this year.
And no Europe makes your season that much easier. So now they have the distraction of a Champions League, and they're going to have big eyes, and they're going to want the trophy. They're not going to try and get out of the group
Ozil's
stage.
on Arsenal.
Funny, but it's Abramovich, and he might even fire Conte mid-year if they do poor in Champions League. Regardless, I think their transfers were decent, but I think City's were better, and you might have a point with the consistency that City have.
I think they had great transfers. I think it's going to take time, of course,
but
to get used to the Premier
I
League.
go with Pep
But-
over Conte.
Nah.
That's the difference. Because my second place, I'll go
How can you say
right
that? First of
along.
all, it's Conte. Say Conte.
Conte.
Not Conte, the midfielder. Conte.
Conte.
There you go. Second, Morata is a great pick. It's a gamble, of course, as you're taking a new striker. As is Lacazette, Lukaku less because
Well,
he's used
it's
to the
not a
Premier
gamble.
League.
They forced their hand by saying, "Hey, Diego Costa, we don't want you
Get
here anymore."
out.
Sure,
now.
but I personally love Batshuayi as a striker as well. I love him.
He will average about 25 minutes a season.
Sure.
A game.
I don't know. As of
Season.
now, they have him starting. They have him starting right
That's
now.
because
Until-
Because
until
Morata
he has
doesn't have
injuries.
his fit.
No, Pedro
No,
and
the
Hazard are
injuries.
out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He did win the title with his goal last
He
year,
did.
but he won't get that much time. So I mean,
So we're down to Man U and City, you and me, Josh,
Yeah.
and Seth's down to United and Chelsea.
so Seth, you should go with your second.
Who do you think is going to be?
You tipped your hand because you're not going to go for them for back to back.
I think
Unless
that,
you changed it.
as you said, it's going to be an insane Premier League season this year. I think it's between City, United, and Chelsea. As I said, City in third. I do think Man U will pull away with it this season. I think Chelsea's going to get second, but I'm not saying that with confidence. It's going to be super close. It's going to be a race to the finish. It depends on how Chelsea does with the Champions League. As you said last year, they did not have it. It depends how quickly Man U's team builds up their chemistry with their new players. There's a lot of variables into it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be close.
Okay.
But I'd say Man U pulling it away.
So Man U 1, Chelsea 2 for Seth. Michael.
I'm trying to think right now I know this is something that's a last case scenario, but I'm trying to think what the tie break scenario is right now in my head. If it's goal differential or head to head.
It's goal differential, but it'd be wonderful if we got a 39th game out of this.
If it is goal differential, then I'm almost thinking City because they'll have the higher goal differential than United, I think.
In the
off chance that they tie on points,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with City. But let's say most likely they don't. I'm going to go with United. I think Rashford is going to dominate this year. I don't know how he came off so strong from the beginning. It's amazing for a player at his age to just not once just kind of have a bad performance. He's exciting. He's fearless on the ball. He's a good finisher. I saw his finishes against the Galaxy, and he finishes like he's been doing it in his entire life. He's only 19 right now, and he's just finishing like he's Thierry Henry. He's just putting in the corner, whatever.
Confidence.
It's no big deal.
It's all confidence. He's had big games. He's had big goals. It's all confidence.
So yeah, Rashford is going to be he's my player this year.
That could have been a sleeper pick then as well for fantasy.
I have him on my team. That is kind of my sleeper pick.
It's tough to pick him for fantasy. But
yeah, it's tough when you got Lukaku.
Exactly. He's
It's
not playing in a
totally
striker
tough.
position. It's completely different.
But I think United with Lukaku, Martial, and Rashford up top. And you also have Mada, who will come in there and score some goals. Martial will come off the bench, score some goals. He's still a good player, not to forget.
Speaking of which, the best goal I've ever seen live was by Mata,
On Mata.
but when he was on Chelsea.
I think at some point in a future episode, we're going to mention our best goals we've seen live, best games we've gone to.
And then I'll get back to that goal.
Got to think about that later on. Joshy, you're 1 and 2.
A week ago, in our practice, I decided that City would be my 1 and United would be my 2. It's tough.
Matic happened since then.
Well, let me
What'd
speak.
you say?
Matic happened since then.
Let me get to it, and I will get to it. But I thought it's difficult to make this prediction because I'm a United fan. Having said that, I love what we've done this transfer window.
Amazing.
And-
He's going to do better.
And Matic,
No, it can do better. If Feliani leaves, it gets better.
He's not going to see a minute regardless, but Matic and Lukaku are amazing transfers.
Matic is the key transfer that will unleash Pogba. And the day or the season of the 0-0 or 1-1 ties are in the past. And we're talking about a 90-point year for United. And it
I agree.
will be the start of the return of glory.
So they've got a lot to prove because last year, I think out of the top 4 or top 6, United was the worst team when it came to playing against the teams in the top 6. So it's going to come down to that where they need to step up in those big games and not just play defensively and fail in those games.
Part of that was-
Matic is the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League.
Part of that was
Maybe
that
the
near the
world.
end
I
of the
love
year,
him.
we were throwing in the towel with the Premier League games
That's
because we were
true, too.
focused on the Europa League.
So wait, is Pogba playing the same position he did last year, or is he
No.
taking up a different role?
Maybe a different role, be
Different
more
role.
up the field.
You have Matic and Herrera.
It's Matic and Herrera, not Carrick. Who's the
Definitely
captain?
Herrera.
Have they announced the captain for the team?
They've mentioned it as Carrick, but
That's when he plays.
I see Pogba taking it.
Interesting.
don't know if Pogba will take it. Doesn't matter. Carrick's
I don't
not
know who
playing.
else you do it unless you do Valencia, but
Yeah, he liked Valencia. He did Valencia a lot last year.
I mean, not to look way too far in the future, but I think April 7th is going to be a huge day in the Premier League because that will let us
Who
know.
plays that day?
It'll be City versus
City,
United
United.
at City.
Jeez.
And that's also a week before the semifinals of the Champions
Keep
League.
in mind how late that game is in regards to Champions League surrounding it.
Yeah, it's the
So
semifinals.
we'll have to talk about that in many months.
Well, yeah, it's but you want to always
Agreed. Of course, it's important.
you want to look at the
towards end of
last
season.
matchup of the season between the two, and it's good that
Definitely
it's in the
gonna be
last for
important.
2 months. But here is the special kicker with Man U that'll be a big of a reach, but if you read between the lines and the quotes, it's probably going to happen. Zlatan's back in January.
I forgot
I've
about
read many things against that.
Maybe
so,
against
again,
that.
rumors.
Where do you get against that?
Milan, I heard yesterday in January, back to Milan.
The difference, though, in this will probably be his last year in Europe, is that he wants Champions League, and Man U has Champions League. And by then, they'll be getting into the round of 16.
So will he even be playing in the Premier League though? Will that even help him?
Well,
or
that'll
just give?
that'll be part of the rotation. Whatever Jose thinks is the best thing to do. But
I don't know. I
he's
totally
still,
forgot about Zlatan.
He's still training and under doctor's care at the United facilities.
Wait, hold on. Right now it's
not
August.
gonna abandon
He got
him.
injured.
No. He's out of contract. They didn't re-sign
Yeah.
him. He's a free agent. He can do whatever he wants, and he's doing some like touring. But he's also at the United facilities. And the rumor that I heard, which was not confirmed, was he didn't want to sign a new contract when he was injured.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That's why they released him.
He got injured like in April or May.
I want to say April in the Europa League game.
So it's been about 4 months or so.
They're saying December maybe, and there's
yeah,
also been.
that timetable sounds about
If you
right.
listen to the Joe Rogan
January.
podcast, they're working on like those ACL injuries a lot quicker these
Yeah.
days, and the recovery time is a lot quicker. So I see him in a United jersey come December, January,
Maybe
and that
It's
will be
It's a very, very big chance.
Do you think he invents his own number?
that'll be interesting because I mean Lukaku got the approval of Zlatan for the number. So
Who is taking over Rooney's number? Has anyone?
oh, you stumped this United fan. That's good.
He was 10 though, right?
He was
Yeah.
10.
Is it Mata's 8? I don't know who else would be. Pogba is 6, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pogba is 6.
Have they signed other players this year?
Matic is 31.
Yeah, he was a big number. First team number 10 is vacant right now.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it makes sense.
Interesting.
No one has it.
Maybe Zlatan comes back and takes 10. That would definitely happen.
I would sign that. What was also not said was the Galaxy have already confirmed that he's not coming to them, that was the team above United, above Milan. That was the rumor. And they signed Jonathan Dos Santos, which is a stupid signing, but we can get to MLS at a later point. And Zlatan's not going to the States.
Interesting. No, that's crazy. That to have a high profile team not have a number 10 is very rare.
If you're living in one of those countries that can place bets at a sports book, like the Europe, England, whatever, and you have Zlatan's next squad, put a few shekels on him at Man United.
If they're in a different country, they're not going to put any shekels.
They can definitely put shekels. They'll take any money on the sports book. But I think that'll do it for this episode of the Greenberg Hat Trick. We hope you learned a few things and came to your own conclusion on what you think will be the results in the Premier League. It's going to be probably the best year ever.
Yeah.
If you guys...
Not probably will be.
It will be the best year ever. Also, we're excited that soccer's back. That there's not only baseball anymore, with all apologies to our baseball fans, but we wish you all the luck in the world in selecting your fantasy teams, and keep your ears open for more The Greenberg Hat Trick content, like our Facebook page. There'll be a Twitter page.
Yeah, we're gonna start all this stuff. We're gonna be very active socially. We're gonna do some Facebook Lives. We're gonna have like people, if you want to ask questions for the radio show, if you want to request with songs, we can take song requests as well.
Yeah, during the radio show, we'll be playing songs in between segments.
Yeah, so the show's gonna be starting in a few weeks. We're gonna have football talk, hockey talk, basketball, whatever's pretty much going on at the time. We'll bring it up. We'll have our opinion.
We'll talk Israeli soccer as well.
Definitely,
we
a lot
can
of Israeli
also
soccer.
talk some pop culture if you want to know
Definitely.
what movie you want to see or the next TV series that you're missing out on. Who knows? And like I said, we'll also give some own personal stories of like the greatest game we've ever been to or a good moment that we saw live. I mean, I won't forget the time that I went to England to see Michael Owen score a hat trick against West Ham. That was
In his
such
first game.
a sick game.
It's his first game on Newcastle.
Yeah, at Upton Park. And
Crazy.
for those that don't know, the song that leads into the podcast is "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles," which is West Ham's song, and we heard it that day at Upton Park, and ever since then we
It stuck
Started
with us.
blowing bubbles.
started
No,
blowing
it's
bubbles.
stuck with at least for me and Josh, not as much with Seth, but like because me and Josh played together with on our high school team in Los Angeles, that was one of our warm-up songs while we were like driving to each stadium. We'd make sure we have like a playlist, and "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles" was like one of those songs, and it's a big thing for us.
So if you haven't heard that before, I recommend looking it up on YouTube. It's a very inspiring song.
So yeah, that's it for our first ever episode airing. It was a fun experience. We're gonna get better at this.
Thanks for listening, guy.
And
Catch you later.
Hopefully next time someone won't like randomly scream from the studio next by. 'Cause
She's okay, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's okay. We our producer checked on her and gave us the thumbs up, so nothing to worry about in case you were worrying about the person that shrieked in the other room. But thank you. Get ready for the next episode. Get ready for some fun times on the Greenberg Hat Trick.
Ciao.